Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am Dana. We have Sonia. We have Lisa. We have Kate. The whole gang is here, as we usually are every Tuesday. Sometimes not all of us can make it every Tuesday, but we try for sure. Oh my God.
What was that, Kate?
What was that, Kate?
Nothing.
I want to see what that Michigan thing was. Why do you have
a bet?
What?
Oh,
Okay, for those, a little background. Kate is an Ohio State fan. Sonia is a Michigan girl. They fight every year. I love it.
It's next week. We got one more. This weekend we're good. Next week is hate week.
Next week we don't talk to each other.
Next week. Well, you know what? It's interesting. So for those of you guys who maybe don't know, Sonia and Kate and our dear friend Michelle do the Our Turf Football Podcast College Edition every Wednesday night. And so they're same time, just on Wednesdays, and they talk about college games. And I want to thank you guys for giving my Montana State a shout out last week. My Montana State Bobcats have already won their conference. They are 11-0, and now we get to go play the University of Montana this weekend. So I'm very excited about that. So that'll be good. I'm not boring Lisa. Lisa's just very tired, as she's told us 1,000 times already before.
She doesn't want us to talk about the U tomorrow, so we'll move on.
No, she doesn't.
NFL.
All right. Okay, so of course, before we get started tonight, we want to thank our sponsors, Donkey's Place Cheesesteaks. They have 3 locations in New Jersey, as you guys hear us tell you every single week: Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. But you can also go to goldbelly.com, look up Donkey's Place Cheesesteaks, and they will send them right to your house. They are fantastic. So please go check out Donkey's. We are so thankful to them for giving us our sponsorship each year, which saves you guys from a bunch of commercials. So thank you guys so very much for that. All right. So this week, we're going to kind of
Hello to the chat people.
Oh, hello, our chat people. Yes, we have a whole bunch. Yes. Look at all the people.
Come chat with us. If you're watching on somewhere else, come to YouTube where you can chat with us.
Right. So if you guys are watching over on Facebook or on the site that will not be named at this point, then feel free to come on over to our YouTube channel. You can join in our chat. As you guys know, we like to put your thoughts, your comments, your opinions on the screen with us during our show. So please do that. All right. This week, we've got about 3 or 4 different topics. We're going to piggyback on a conversation that we started last week about how one person can, quote unquote, save a team. And last week, we talked about, one player. Well, this week, we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers, which I noticed on Blue Sky. I don't know if you guys know this. On our Turf account, we are getting inundated with Rams and Chargers fans. Bring it on, LA. We're all about you. So I don't know what list we made it on. We are so grateful. We hope you guys are watching. We are going to talk about the Chargers. We're going to talk about Jim Harbaugh. And I called him Jim because someone got mad at me for calling him Evil Harbaugh. But you guys, maybe our new people don't understand, is we give nicknames to everyone. And when there was 2, and he was the head coach of San Francisco, he was the evil of the 2. So that's where it came from. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Chargers and what a difference he's made there. We're going to talk tonight also about Kate's great new segment about question the coaching decision. And so we're excited to go ahead and give you another example of that. We're also going to talk about teams that are good teams with bad records, because believe it or not, we have a couple. Cincinnati, what the hell? Anyway, so we'll get into that for sure. And then, of course, we are going. Sonia, what is I forgot already. Oh,
I'm running up the score.
That's right. We were just talking about. Sorry. I'm tired too, Lisa.
That right?
We were talking about there was a lot of crap given to a couple of teams this week about running up the score. So we're going to talk about that. We want your opinions. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? So again, come over to the YouTube channel so you can chat in our live chat and tell us what you think. All right. So let's go ahead and start Darth Harbaugh.
New name.
New
name alert.
I'm not the only one. Thank you, Big Red, for that. Let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's start with running up the score, because I think that one is going to be kind of the most controversial, opinionated ones. The interesting thing, when you look at the NFL scores this week, there were really a few. There were really 2.5-ish that got a lot of crap for. The first one was the Broncos and the Falcons. The Broncos scored 38, the Falcons 6. There's talk about a confusing team. And then, God love them, and we love and adore them, but the Lions 52-6 over the Jaguars. Sonia, I know the Lions are your team, but come on.
You don't want them to score, you got to stop them. Just bottom line, you don't want them to score, you got to stop them.
See, we don't need to talk about it anymore. She just said it. That's it.
No,
right?
that is not it.
That's not it.
That is it. You don't want them to score? Stop them. I'm sorry. And I trust me, I am a Lions fan. We went 0-16. I get it. We could not. There were teams that we could not stop. We've gotten blown out on Thanksgiving. Y'all never wanted to watch us on Thanksgiving because we got blown
Y'all
out.
never wanted to watch
Fair.
us.
It's fair.
Right?
For a while, you're right.
So-
It was bad.
You don't want us to score? Stop us. That's all. I mean, I get it. I understand. People's moms are watching, their kids watching. I get it. But it's a lesson. If you don't want us to score, stop.
Sonia, your head coach was like, "Oh, did we? Oh, did we? Did we run up the score? Oh my God, I
Listen.
freaking love your head coach. He makes me laugh so hard." But I will say this, because I was unable to watch that game. I was doing some other things. So did they even at some point put like the backup of the backups in, like, or did they just leave their starters out there to roll it?
I think they, towards the end of the game, they did pull their starters and put their backups in. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing that you need to do when you're opening up
Right.
a can like that. You need to take your starters out and get your backups
Well,
in.
hell, the Falcons pulled their starters. So
Right?
they were done.
Exactly. So, yeah, so
And
you
that's-
got to do
that's
that.
another point.
Probably.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
another
take out your
point.
starters.
Right.
Yeah, they
What's
were
the
done.
You
point?
don't need to
Lisa?
get hurt.
The other point is it running up a score, or is it the other team just quits? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's when you look at that, especially when you look at the Jaguars, and watch some of the game, it's just like they look like they were half running. The
Yeah.
tackling was atrocious, and when you get to this juncture where you're trying to seed for playoffs, why take your foot off the gas? I mean, keep going. I mean, you want the momentum, you want to go. And if the team's going to quit in the fourth quarter, that's on that team.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
that coach's deal. And when you look at teams, and we see it a lot in college where, you have a second half, but at some point in the fourth quarter, you can just see the teams just quitting.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, is it fair to the other team where, okay, we can see that they're quitting? Well, let us quit. No, hell no.
No.
So, it goes along with what Sonia said. It's just because you can't stop them, that's not running the score up. It's your
Right.
team's quitting. So,
Right.
I would just
Kristen,
say,
hold on one second. Kristen said, "This isn't Pee Wee football. I think the objective is to score as many points as possible."
perfect.
Kate, I'm going to give this to you because I understand that thought process. I agree with that process. I'm not saying I disagree with you guys, just trying to show the other side of the coin, right? But it's not like football is soccer or hockey where there's a goal differential. Like if you end up tied with someone, goal differential matters. Football's like win or lose, done, whatever, right? So I'm not quite sure. Maybe at some level of going to a tiebreaker, you run into points scored. I'm not sure, but it just seems it's like if you are up by 30, 35. Why not just pull everyone and let the other guys get some time?
Once you get into the 50s, like when we look at the Broncos game, 38-6, my issue is Bo Nix played every snap for that Broncos team. What if he gets hurt?
Right.
When you're humiliating a team, whether they've given up or not, and you're up by 30 or 40 points in the fourth quarter, it's going to get chippy.
Yeah.
And do you want, that is my thing. I understand make the defense stop you, right? But you also have to use a little bit of common sense. You're right. Style points don't matter in the NFL. This isn't
Right.
college football where style points matter because people are voting on you. 38 is probably like the edge for me of running up the score.
Okay.
But even the Lions with 52, Jared Goff, Hooker Hendon, whatever his name is, dude from
Herndon.
Tennessee, was 3 for 4. He won in for one series?
Yeah.
And why aren't you running the ball? And why aren't you putting some of your other guys in? When you're up into the 40s, Jacksonville hadn't scored since halftime. Mac Jones was under center. They had no chance of scoring. At some point, if your backups are scoring, then your backups are scoring. But I don't think these teams pay enough attention to David Montgomery and his legs and give him the fourth quarter off. And if they start to do something, then bring other people in. Get some experience for your depth, because what you're going to run into later in the year is this is a missed opportunity for both of these teams. I will even bring up.
You can do it. You can do it.
Browns 14. That fourth quarter was your opportunity to give some experience and some snaps to the second guy on next man up on your bench, because God forbid you have an injury later this season and someone who has to come in who hasn't had a lot of reps. You're going to wish you'd have taken some of these opportunities to do that. Right. That's only my thing, is that I see it a lot more in the preseason as guys are fighting for a job.
For sure.
When you're once you get into the 40 and 50s on a score against a team in single digits, it gets chippy. It's already, we've all heard stories about what goes on at the bottom of the pile.
There were 3 fights in games this week.
Yeah.
Rivalries.
Yeah. So it's just
right. All right. So Big Red brings up a really good point in our chat. Some snaps may be contractually obligated. That is a really good point, Big Red. And I'm going to admit, I hadn't even thought about that. Some bonuses are based on percentage of snaps played, number of, yardage, that sort of thing. And these games might be a great way for those players to pad some of that. So that is a very good point, that this player might be like, we're going to take you out. The hell you are, because I'm going to be able to get an extra 50 yards on my, running or whatever, 75% snaps played. I'm not going to have this terrible team ruin that for me. I think that's a really good point. So that is something we definitely need to think about.
Yeah, but that's when the head coach gets a phone call from the owner the next day going, you're costing me, because now I'm going to have to pay bonus to these guys if they're that close to their bonus at the end of the year.
Yeah, but you're going, if you're making a Super Bowl run like the Lions are, to me, you just, especially when you take a coach like Campbell, I mean, it all just fits. I don't see him taking his foot off the gas. I just don't. He's just not that type of coach. Where you had McDaniels down in Miami, we had the chance to make the record. We could have easily put Miami in the record book against the Broncos, but we didn't. He said, no, we're done. And that was it. So I don't know if you have Dan Campbell in that thing, if he doesn't go for the record. I mean, that's just your differences to me in coaching. You think he would?
Oh, I think he would.
Yeah, but I think part of that is his mentality as a coach. Mm-hmm. The Lions have a very real shot at the Super Bowl, and he wants them focused for every minute of that game. The Broncos are 6-5. Y'all aren't going to the Super Bowl. I will call it now. If they go to the Super Bowl, I'll buy Michigan shirts for everybody. You're not going to the Super Bowl.
But you have a rookie quarterback
style than Dan Campbell.
But you have a rookie quarterback that needs every single snap, to me, regardless.
Yeah. All right.
Glad he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't been fantasy football, so I cannot complain about my yards. I'm just saying you're lucky he didn't get hurt, because your season's riding on his shoulders.
So a couple really good comments. Darcy in chat says, for points scored, it's like the 9th common games, 10th net points in all game for tiebreakers. So it's clear down there. We're not talking about that. But then this is really interesting. He also says snap bonuses, which is exactly why the Giants aren't playing Drew Lock with bonuses, because of snap counts over. It's like $2 million it would cost them. So that's a really good, because we've been talking about the Giants, like, man, they just skipped right over Drew Lock and went right to, I don't know. I call him Tony Danza. I know that's not his name, but that's why I call him DeVito. But so, but that's a really good point. It's all because of that. I'd
rather be Tony Danza than Danny DeVito. If you're going to call me by the wrong name and pick up Hollywood guy, please call me Tony Danza.
Oh my gosh, I know, for sure. All right, so let's move on to our next conversation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Los Angeles Chargers. So last week, we had a whole conversation about, these teams that go get these one players to save them. And then they fired their GM today too. God love the Jets. They are a disaster. So fun. So they're just a mess. And so we had this conversation, they brought him in to save the team. We talked about Russell Wilson a lot. We talked about the players coming in. Well, we wanted to flip the coin on that just a little bit. I want to talk about the Chargers. The Chargers were very much a struggling team. And this is who Lisa considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league. She loved Justin Herbert. She always liked Justin Herbert. And Lisa is usually pretty dead on when it comes to quarterbacks. Lisa, you just are. You just know what you're talking about. So she's always liked Herbert, but there always just seemed he was injured or the line was bad or whatever. They never could catch fire. Fired their head coach, got rid of a bunch of players too. I don't know if I agree with the Austin Eckler thing, but that's all right. He wanted out. And then they bring in the evil Jim Harbaugh. God love him. And where are they sitting right now? Right behind the Chiefs, 7-3 in the division. They look fantastic. They're playing so well. This week, let's see, what was their score this week? Let me roll through that really quick. So sorry. Let's see. Did they play? Oh, yeah, there they are. Beat the Bengals 34-27. That was actually a pretty decent game. We're going to talk about the Bengals here in a minute too. Mm-hmm. But what I want to talk about right now, Justin Herbert, is sitting at 2186 for yards. Their team, like I said, is 7-3. Now I want to talk about last season. In the 2023 regular season, the season total for Justin Herbert was 3,100 yards. Their best rusher only had 628 yards. Keenan Allen, God love him, 1,243 yards. But that was just not, they couldn't get rolling. And then you get into 2022. They did make the postseason in 2022. Justin Herbert was higher at 4,700 yards. But it just seemed like that team could not catch fire. In goes Mr. Harbaugh. I feel bad now that someone got mad that I called him evil, so I'm not going to be able to. He came in there, and the mentality of the entire team shifted. It was like noticeable. It was palpable. He has these players playing to their strengths. They look great. They look complete, and Herbert is just killing it, but not just by himself. He's got all of these players behind him. You know, it's just, and I know every team does, but they're playing. J.K. Dobbins already is at 726 yards running. Their best wide receiver only has 615 yards, but they're playing complementary football. And I know that's a word that's thrown around a lot, but it just seems impressive. Lisa, I'm going to ask this of you. In your opinion, does this change the trajectory for the quarterback that you liked so much in Justin Herbert? Bringing in Harbaugh, who wasn't really always considered a quarterback whisperer. We can go clear back to Colin Kaepernick and some of those others if we want to.
Yeah, but
he looks
Can
great.
you though? But can you? I mean, when you look at his quarterback stable, when you look at Kaepernick was very successful with Harbaugh.
He was.
Look at the quarterbacks in Michigan. I mean,
well, Jacob, that's my question, because I don't know much about Michigan.
To me, and that's what they were talking about in a couple of talk radios shows I was listening to with him, was that he has been a very favorable coach for quarterbacks. And I'm sure it comes from the stem of him being a quarterback. And one interesting thing about him was when he was playing, he was in our division, of course, at the time with the Colts. He had an Anthony Richardson. I don't know if a lot of people remember this thing where he just wasn't playing well. He took himself out of the game. Oh, and he took a lot of heat for that. So he had one of those moments where he literally went to the coach and said, "Look, I'm playing like crap. I'm not feeling this today. You might have more success with another quarterback." He got ripped. But with him was he, to me, makes all the difference with Justin. Plus, Justin's 100% healthy this year.
That's true. That has been talked about a lot. Yeah,
exactly. His ankle is 100% healed. He was hobbled by this ankle for like 2 years, they said. So you're coming in with a healthy Justin Herbert. You're coming in with a coach that, to me, does have a good rapport with quarterbacks. I mean, when you look at the Michigan stables, when you look at Kaepernick, and so to me, I think he's the big step up that Herbert needed. Because like I said, I think we've been on the cusp with him. Like, is he going to make that jump? And I think he's making it with Harbaugh. So I do think that he is he just needs consistency, right? And he still needs a couple people around him. So to me, this still is a building block with Jim. This is still, this isn't his team yet, but I think he's very happy with Herbert. I think Herbert's very happy with him. So I don't see anything but good things for the Chargers, which makes it fun.
Yeah. Sonia, I want to shoot this question from Big Red over to you from our chat. Has Harbaugh proven with the Chargers that he was the reason Michigan did so well last year? You being a Michigan fan, you probably know the current version, not my pouty throw the the clipboard version that I love and miss so much, but the current version of Jim Harbaugh, probably best out of all of us. What do you think about that? Has he proven that?
Yeah, he has. I mean, you look at Michigan's performance this year and you can see. But then also though, Michigan did have a whole bunch of starters leave and left them with like it's not nothing, but not a lot. And
Yeah.
so these were like first round players, or not first round players, but these were draft picks. These are kids that are in the NFL now. So I think that combination of Harbs and the kids, that was why Michigan was so good last year. But definitely I can see him kind of trying to build what he did at Michigan over there. And it took him time. It took him time to build what he wanted and get the right players and the right kind of system together for what he wanted. And so it's going to take time too in Los Angeles. I mean, they are already improved, but it might still take a little bit of time, but I think they're on that same trajectory. And was he a quarterback whisperer at Michigan? Yeah. JJ was obviously his best quarterback, but he worked magic with a lot of the quarterbacks that he did have that weren't JJ.
It'll be good to see JJ play next year. I'm excited to see what that kid's got for sure. For sure.
I will say this about Harbaugh. What I've seen the biggest difference in the Chargers last year versus this year is they have 5 giveaways. They are the best in the NFL at interception and fumbles, having the lowest number. They're not giving the ball away. Ball security was an issue for them in prior years. And I think that's a Harbaugh thing. He is very big when he was at Michigan, when he was in San Francisco. He is very big on ball security. And while their defense isn't taking it away, they're not giving it away. And that's a huge thing.
For sure. Kristen in chat has a good question. Well, actually not, probably just kind of a statement. I wonder if he could have turned any bad team around. I think having a very capable and higher end quarterback didn't hurt. Let's just be honest there. But I do think that he would have had an impact on just about any team. It'll be interesting. And as we saw in Seattle with Pete Carroll, we've seen it a lot of times when a college coach comes up and he's beloved in the college circles, their first couple drafts are good because they know those players so well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him over the next couple of drafts. Probably the next 2, I think, will be really important for that.
Yeah, because he'll bring his guys in, like we said. And like
or
you said,
the guys he wished he had.
Exactly. And Eckler, like you said, he wasn't one of his guys. So he wanted a fresh start. I'm sure Jim's got people coming in. And one of the things when you look at Michigan and you look at the Chargers, one thing Harbaugh does bring that I think the past couple Chargers coaches tried to do, they just tried to put too much on Herbert and just make him a pass. Harbaugh brings a balanced offense to this Chargers. Yes. You've got a boatload of runs. You got some precision passes, just like you said, methodically down the field. You don't need bombs after bombs. And I think that's what they were trying to do to Herbert, was just quick strikes, quick strike quarterback. And when you see what Harbaugh's done, bringing a balanced attack, that is perfect for Justin, and he's thriving.
Interesting. It's gonna be fun to watch the rest of the season. I think Chiefs fans, you might be a little nervous because it seems like they might be starting to chip on your heels a little bit. All right, so let's talk really quickly. There are a couple of teams out there, Kate, that put up amazing numbers. They're really good, and their records are crap, absolute crap. What's going on?
I mean, there's quite a few of them. When you I look at fantasy football, when I look at stats. The most, attractive players to try to get a hold of, the ones that are getting drafted. And then I went and I looked at the NFL stats in general. The Bengals are 4-7. Joe Burrow has the most passing yards in the league. Jamar Chase has the most catching yards in the league. Trey Hendrickson has the most sacks in the league. They're a top 5 offense, and their record is crap. The Tennessee Titans are 2-8. And they have the second best defense in the league from yards allowed. It's like, I look at 2 teams that I would put in this category for me are the Dolphins at 4-6 and the Buccaneers at 4-6. They are way better than that record says they are. And so I think there are quite a few teams that are playing above their head right now. They will come down to earth. But these are teams where sometimes having the guys with all the stats aren't enough. And I think the Bengals are just the poster child for that. They need to figure out what to do in the running game, and they need to figure out what to do at their penalties, because you can have 3,000 yards at week 10 or week 9, whatever it is, and your team only has 4 wins. They've lost a bunch of games in like the last minute.
Yeah.
And those cumulative stats don't mean anything if you're not putting up points when you're in the red zone.
Yeah. In chat, our good friend Michelle, she's like, stats lie. And I agree, and the stats nerds would kill us for that, right? Like they love the stats.
Yeah.
The stats,
Well,
we go through the numbers. It's like, yeah, but what's the production on the field?
Yeah.
It's huge, but does it get you the win?
Nope.
Right. What I tell people, because I do data and analytics for a living, is numbers don't lie, but they will tell whatever story you want them to. If I tell you right now, the Bengals have the best quarterback yards and the best wide receiver and the best sack guy, you're going to be like, if you don't know football, you're going to be like, oh, what are they, undefeated? I'm like, no, they're 4-7. Because I left out the turnovers and all the penalties and all the other stats. So we like to look at these flashy stats that don't mean anything by themselves. You've got to look at the whole picture of that team.
We gotta love Big Red. I love your dedication, sir. So Big Red's like, I'm just ready for Spencer to light it up. His time's coming. Big Red's our biggest Spencer Rattler fan. God love him. Spencer
Rattler.
We love it. It's a whole thing.
I was very sad that he did not get to play against Cleveland.
I know. It's interesting though. It is interesting. And what you said, something that's very, very true. There's a lot of teams that are kind of living up here. December has a tendency to pull them back down a little bit. Just because December is usually the thick of it, right? And you're tired and your injuries and all that other stuff. But I do think that those are the teams and the fan bases, like the Bengals fan bases. They're frustrated with their team, but they're probably not mad at their team. They're not calling for people's heads because they're doing it, but they're not.
Yeah, because you know what they got, you know what they have, you know the talent. We saw that, and the Bengals remind me of what we were just talking about. I think they need to go back to a balanced offense. I think they just want to do that quick strike. They want that chase to barrow quick strikes, and it kills them. And like Kate said, the turnover it creates it. One long bomb. It's luck half the time, And Chase is incredible. I mean, if you can get the ball close, he's going to come down with it, because some of those pass plays late in the game, they were gorgeous. I mean, that one he threw that got him right back into the game. They are a quick strike team, but at the same time, they can't live by that. They still have to have some type of balance to them. And right now, I'm not seeing a balance. I'm seeing quick strikes.
Yeah, because what happens is you go out, and the Chiefs used to do this. You go out and score in 3 plays, and your defense is like, what? I have to go back on the field?
Right.
And your defense has had no time to rest.
Yep. That was Seattle for so long. Joe Mixon for a 7th rounder to Houston. That's all I'm saying. Whatever. All right, so we're gonna let that go. But all right, so then we have one more. Kate, I love this new segment.
Michelle.
She came in there.
Come on, what Michelle say?
Michelle's probably gonna not like this segment. Michelle's tonight.
Like, poor Michelle. So throwing 50 past the game is not going to get you very far. That's so true. So true. So Michelle she does our college show with Sonia and Kate. She's our dear friend. But Michelle, I'm going to tell you, the Cowboys, the call's coming from within the building. You need to fix that. Fix within the building quickly. So anyway,
your roof's falling down. You got all kinds of problems.
Did you guys see that? Like part of the metal roof fell down. I'm like, omen. It's an omen, Jerry. Jerry, it's time. Burn it down.
That's why I love the Manning cast, because they replayed the video twice of that falling down. And they're like, and that's why the roof is closed today, because they're afraid to open it and have anything else come falling.
You're not the Jets, Michelle. That's all that matters right now. You're not the Jets. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get to our new little segment that is so fun. It's the coach's call. Kate, what you got for us this week?
Oh, we're going to second guess the coach's call. There's 2 of them tonight, and they are both.
Stop. I have to put Michelle. Please respect our privacy during this difficulty. God love you, Michelle. You're just one of my favorite people.
Michelle,
all
right. You're going to want to leave, because both of them are Mike McCarthy's decisions last night during Monday Night Football.
All right.
First quarter, first possession of the game, Houston scores. Dallas gets the ball. On 4th and 9 from their own 33, Mike McCarthy thinks we should fake a punt. and it didn't work. And they turned the ball over on downs to Houston. They got very lucky because that Houston possession turned into an interception where it was recovered on the 33. So they ended up back where they started. Lisa, why are we faking a punt on the first possession of a game?
You know, and does it not drive you crazy? Why do these guys get cute all of a sudden? Cute does nothing but cause issues. The only thing I can think Mike McCarthy's doing is just saying, F it. Let's just go. You know, I mean, I don't know what else to say for the guy. I mean, honestly, you already know he's fired at the end of the season. Come on, right? We already know he's gone. Yep. It's just, you know, like you said, why fire him right now? There's just no sense in it. You know, you've lost your quarterback. You know, that's the only thing I can think. He's just throwing the kitchen sink. He just, at this point, it's like, F it. Let's see if it works. If it works, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. In my opinion, you should have just gone for it. You probably would have been a better off in your base offense than you would have been in that because like they fooled. I don't know if they knew because it didn't fool anybody.
They turned the ball over on downs 4 times last night. Like, I don't know that I've seen another game where they turned the ball over on downs.
It's got to be that mentality where he's just like, screw it.
Okay.
Right.
But I got a question for you because I got into it with a couple of people during the Seahawks-Niners game. By the way, the Seahawks won that game. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. And so about were they coaches being aggressive enough? There are a lot of fans out there. Sonia, I want your opinion on this. There are a lot of fans out there who want the coaches to be aggressive. Maybe not cute, but aggressive. Is that what they were trying to be?
No, I think they're just trying to be cute. I think in that case, he was just saying, F it, let's just see. I don't know.
Right?
It could work. That's what they were trying to do. I don't think they were trying to be cute. I think if they were trying to be aggressive, that would have been more, I don't know. I think Dan Campbell. Yeah, I think going for it on 4th down when it was like, you know, like in a better situation than that.
Kate, you're giving him no credit.
No.
So is there a time and place? Is there a situation where that fake punt is the right call? I think we all agree it's not in your first offensive possession of the game.
It's not there. It's really when you least expect it. That's
like when you're winning. Maybe when you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the risk is exactly what happened. You just gave all the momentum right back to the Texans.
Or maybe when you're on the other side of the field.
Yeah. Dana.
Yeah.
The second thing we're going to talk about, I already saw in the chat. 3rd quarter, you're on the Houston 46. You bring your guy out. He hits a 61-yard field goal. Penalty. Penalty gives you the first down. You can take those points off the board and play, or you can take the points. Mike McCarthy opted to take those points off the board, drove themselves all the way down to the Houston 8, where they turned the ball over on downs. Dana, do you ever take points off the board?
What was the score at the time? Do we know?
I don't know. I will go look.
I think it would have made it 17-13.
Oh, you leave the points on the board. When you were a team, because when you were a team that struggles to get points, which is Dallas this year, they cannot get points. Any points you get, you hold on to. Now, yes, would the touchdown have been better? Yes, absolutely. But
it was 17-10 at that point. She's right. It was 17-10.
So that brings you within it less than. No, I think I would have kept the points.
So does that prove that it was a effort night for him? He needed to win.
They didn't score a point after that. It's almost like the football god said, "What? You want to take points off the board? Then you don't need anything for the rest of today."
Exactly.
It was close enough. It was close enough to where I think you should have taken the points. I do. I agree with all of you. But I'm telling you, I don't think we're dealing with a sensible coach right now.
So that's a great segue to Big Red's question in chat. Big Red says, "Is being aggressive too much show desperation and lack of confidence in your team?" That's a really good point. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to be aggressive and try and go for the touchdown because I don't trust him to get points later in the game. I don't know.
Are we sure Jerry wasn't in his ear and saying, you do what I tell you to do?
I don't know. So when I did the Sunday game between the Bills and the Chiefs, and there was a whole lot of aggressive going on there, and it felt like confidence. This aggression from Mike McCarthy felt like, we all know you got problems with Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys running game is a hot mess. And you've now got Cooper Rush under center,
Desperation.
who was like 2 for $1 million or whatever he was. Like they turned the ball over on downs after 4th and 10 because they threw it 4 times and couldn't get it. It feels that aggression like desperation.
They need to bring Trey Lance in. And I know they're going to let Cooper start again
Literally,
next time.
what?
I don't
They
think
need
they
to bring
care
Trey
for
Lance
him.
in. Oh, wait, it
I
doesn't
don't-
matter. He can run. The kid actually
Yeah,
has legs.
yeah.
And so it's like, at least it gives you a weapon,
I
right?
don't know.
You can
Yeah.
at least do the RPO. You cannot RPO with Cooper Rush. It may
No.
the only rushing he's doing is in his name.
I mean, and let's face it, name me a player besides CD Lamb who you're going to rely on. You shut CD
Literally
down.
nobody.
Nobody, right? I mean, you're
Well,
going to
you better
shut
be
CD
careful
down.
because he needs to be very careful because CD's on the edge of turning into Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is very vocally not happy with the fact that he's not catching balls, and CD's about to be right there
Yep.
because his team is not winning, and he's about to be like,
Yep.
you're not going
I'm
to
done.
run the
I
ball,
think
kneel him out.
it's hard at this point for him to be vocal because you don't have your starting quarterback. I mean, so it's like, you're going to yell at Cooper Rush? Oh, wow, who cares? You know? So,
Yep.
I mean, it's just, they're a hot
Yep.
mess. They're right behind the Jets.
It is
But
crazy.
I think McCarthy's out. I just think he knows it, and I think it's just going to be
Right.
just
So, Mike,
you're
Throw
gonna
Trey
see it.
Lance in there. Can't get worse. All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys for taking us. We went a few minutes over, as we always do, but we're under 40, which is a big accomplishment for us if you guys care
40.
anything
Well,
about us.
In
We're
minutes,
under
if not
40.
in age.
Yes, for sure.
And we could
All
still
right.
keep going. Probably got another
I know.
hour in us.
I know. I actually had like 10 topics
Literally.
for tonight. But all right. So we will be back here again next week. Yes, we know it's Thanksgiving week. We don't care. We still like football and we're going to come on and chat about it. So we'll be here again next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube. Once again, we encourage you, come to the YouTube channel, join us in the chat. Obviously, you know, we'd like to chat with our people that are on here for sure. Now, tomorrow night, do not forget the Our Turf Football Podcast College Edition. You will get Sonia and Kate and our good friend, sad Dallas fan Michelle, who we love and adore. And they're going to come on and they give you all the updates on the NCAA football season. It'll be very fun. All right, everyone, we will see you guys again next week. Good night, everybody.